Go live.
And
It
there,
keeps
with no
saying,
further delay, is the live stream. We're up.
"Have we? Are we actually live?"
Yeah, we're live. You're New York Vinny. In case you didn't know, you're New York Vinny. You're in Seattle. I'm Michael Knight.
Thank
I'm
you.
in
I needed to. I
LA.
needed to know that. And you are.
And today's the last day for anybody to be involved in their nation. Tomorrow's the day. But today's the last day. I'm calling the deadline. Get involved. Make it happen.
Well, if you're not involved by now, what the heck have you been? I mean, tomorrow you go out and vote. The two things I can't believe is number one that anybody would not want to vote in this election, and number two that you haven't decided who you would like to vote for in this election. I mean, both of those seem to be just strange at this point. I mean,
Well,
how
you
could
don't want
you
to know
not?
why though. You know, when you find someone who doesn't know what they're up to tomorrow, don't ask them why because it would break your spirit. Well, they're both the same. I can't tell the difference. I don't know enough about her. It seems to be disingenuous. I'm supporting the Palestinians. I'm doing this for another reason. I'm backing out because I voted before and it didn't work out for me. I lost my boyfriend. There was a time when I was going to vote and I was on the way to vote, and then we got in a car accident, so I'm never going to do that again. If you heard the simple-minded bullshit that Americans come up with for not knowing what they're up about, they're just too proud to show their ignorance and to show their ill-prepared take on life.
Well,
Here's
this
something
this
that'll
one
drive
that
you
I
crazy.
just
This reminds me of Shasta, California, the county that's the home to Mount Shasta, the beautiful mountain. It's the home for all the new age creatives in the world, but it's also the home to the board of supervisors who are Trump heads, who are getting rid of their Dominion voting machines just in time for the election, so they can count their ballots by hand because they think they're secretly connected to the internet in Italy through Czechoslovakia and Jewish lightsabers. The end result is they have bought Donald Trump lock, stock, and barrel. They're dealing with ideas that he came up with 4 years ago, and they're still wrestling with them and screwing up elections on the basis thereof. And if it can happen in Mount Shasta, California, it can happen anywhere where the minds are twisted and minds are turned, and people make up their minds in a very unlogical and illogical and disappointing way. You'd think that Americans would have more on the ball, but these country boys, these uh, these ignorant, angry white guys, every one of them, have come up with what they think is the perfect plan to make sure that Kamala Harris doesn't take their vote and destroy it somehow. And that is we're going to count the ballots by hand.
well,
Revolutionary.
they're not the
But
only ones to come up with that. I mean, I mean, what was it? The whole
none of
state
them
of
came up with it.
Georgia um, tried to pull that, and I don't know if it was the Georgia Supreme Court or the Supreme Court of the
State
land
Supreme.
told them that nah, we're not going to
State
do that.
Supreme. It was State
We're,
Supreme
we're,
Court. You're right.
yeah, we're just not going to do that. We're going to do that. We're going to use the machines, and if you want to check the machines and recount it by hand, you can do that. But you're going to give us a total
On
from
election night.
from election night or close. And you're going to use the machines, and you're not going to, again, if you want to recount them for some reason, if there's a legitimate reason to recount them, do that. But
Or if
we
you're
can't
Donald
sit
Trump and you don't
there.
want to know the results, what if you
Well,
just
you
don't want to
can't
know the
sit there for
results?
days and mess with the results. People want to know. You got all these guys that are out in caves that are waiting to know if they should jump in their Toyota pickup trucks and head toward the center of town, shooting people.
Should we come in? Should we come into town? We're ready.
You have. I mean, you just have too much at stake here. So I don't know if that Mount Shasta thing. I hadn't heard about that. It's a ridiculous premise that you want to do it. Fortunately, they're small enough that if you did it by hand, you could still do it that night.
And the funny thing is, they spent the money to buy the voting machines, which they now won't use because they're afraid of them. So
And I'm sure
it's
in
like
a
being afraid
place
of the
like Shasta,
teletype.
it's not an expense at all. probably like 60% of their budget to buy those machines
Yep.
because they're not cheap. Although part of the settlement with the was it the Rupert
Fox
Murdoch, the Post, and all of those with Fox News should
News
have
Corp.
been that they would give out free voting machines to people. That 200 million of that, or 200 whatever that, I forget what it was, 575 million or something like that. 200 million of that should have
700
been to give it out to
780.
yeah, should be give it out to smaller municipalities so they can buy voting machines.
So country boys with the pick 'em up truck and a baseball cap are now running in circles in Shasta because the day is here. The day has come.
Well, yeah, I don't. I mean, like you say, it's a thing for it seems to me like it's mainly a thing to get their name in the paper, to get their
Oh
the
no.
tourist office wasn't working too well to let people know where Mount Shasta was, so they decided to go with this. That this would be the smarter thing to do, because
It worked.
is the
It got
vote
their name. It got
Shasta
their name in the LA papers.
Yeah, is the vote for Shasta going to make a difference for anybody if they count them by hand and they don't get turned in until next week? I can't imagine that there's enough people in Shasta to make a difference anywhere in except
Well,
their local candidates.
you happen to be right.
What's their population? 4,000, 5,000?
It could be a negative number. There might be less people there than we think.
I've been a lot of people that left. They've moved to Redding.
Or went hiking on the mountain and just disappeared.
Yeah. Are they going to count the people in the boats on Lake Shasta as what'll happen in that? I can't remember the name of that bar, that restaurant that's on the right side as you're going up. Looks like it's been there since the 40s.
Jimmy's Bar.
No. It's got neon outside. I always pass it. When one time I stopped there and had a meal many years ago. I pulled through Shasta at it's about 6 o'clock at night. I said, let's try this place. Let's see what the deal is. And it was everything you expected it to be, a 1940s, 50s
Steak and a big plate.
joint, steak and whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's what you were getting at, steak and whiskey.
You got a baked potato or hash browns.
Baked potato. No, who gets hash browns with a steak?
Well, I'll have to ask around. I can't. I don't know
Yeah,
if I have an answer for that.
know that that's. I mean, I could imagine that in like a Ted's steak on 42nd Street. The steak $2.49. Maybe they would give you hash browns because the potato would be too much. But
country fries.
But yeah, I would love to see. I just at this point, it's just people like they had this idiot, Mark Wayne. I don't know. Mark Wayne Mullen used to be a wrestler, so he's on CNN. And the first question they ask him is, well, there's talk or a forecast, I should say, that there's going to be a tornado tonight in Oklahoma, which is where he's from, the part of Oklahoma that he's from. So he says, well, people are going to come out and vote even if there's a tornado. That's not going to make a difference. People are still going to come out and vote. And I was just scratching my head, man, saying, well, wait a second.
Why would they do that?
If you have a tornado, shouldn't you be making some plans for that? Shouldn't you be saying, well, yeah, maybe if you're under a tornado watch, maybe you don't want to come out and vote, or maybe you want to get out now before the tornado comes and vote.
Well, if you're a wrestler, things get dangerous. You get up on the ropes. Just get up there and show yourself.
It's just it's amazing. And this was the same guy. I don't know if you remember this. He was having an argument with some union guy a year or so ago, and Bernie Sanders had to tell him to sit down and shut up.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's,
same guy.
he told him, Bernie was so funny. Now stop it. That's it.
Now
Stop
stop
it.
it. You're a U.S. senator or
I don't feel
congressman.
like one. I'm gonna get up on the ropes. I'm gonna get up there.
You know, the one idea that I heard that nobody's put into any kind of practice is that there should be an intelligence test for these offices. That before you can get on a ballot or before you can take office, you have to take an intelligence test.
Answer for me these questions three. What's your favorite color?
Yeah, some kind of test to prove that you're competent enough to assume the office.
You got to be able to tell a bunny rabbit from a dog. It's just a
You gotta be
rabbit
able to
or
do
is it a
something that
dog?
says that I know something. I don't know why in this day and age we haven't done that. We haven't come up with some kind of way of testing these people to say, okay, you pass. You don't have to have a college education. You don't have to have a high school education, but you got to be able to pass a basic test in mental proficiency. You got to be
Well, the
able
army
to.
does. The army does that. They give you a test with no words, just pictures: a hammer, a
Yeah,
nail, a screw, and a dog. And if you can't
even
pass that
even if
test, they
you
say, "I'm
take that
sorry,
basic test,
you can't have a gun. Nope, you're not coming with us.
yeah, even if you
We're going
gave
over there to the
somebody that
war."
basic test and said you got to take the same test you take to get in the army, because if you can't get in the army, you certainly
You
don't
can't be.
belong representing people.
True enough.
I don't know if that's constitutional or not. There may be some hang up to it, but you know, I thought that this year when Trump challenged Biden to take the test, and then Kamala challenged Trump to take the test, and all of a sudden Trump shut up. That was a clear sign that everybody should be taking the test.
It doesn't have to be constitutional. It's just smart. We're going to find out if you're smart enough to run this thing, and if you're not,
Yeah,
we're going to know about it.
yeah, because there's no educational requirement for these offices. There's no anything. Anybody can get elected, as we saw with
And it and it turns out it doesn't
George
help to go to a
Santos.
good college because a lot of these guys went to Harvard, and it's Harvard has a lot to answer for if that's the result of their education.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It doesn't seem to me like they're
Senator Vance and
getting
Senator Cruz.
the education. If that's what you're getting out of Harvard, boy, you piss. You pissed. At least Colin Jost got on Saturday Night Live coming out of Harvard.
At least he got a gig.
You got a gig out of it. You're fighting, scrapping with some guy named Mark Wayne to get a gig. Who the hell names their kid Mark Wayne anyway?
The parents thought it was a dignified name.
Well, different strokes for people in Oklahoma, I guess, right? I know some very fine people from Oklahoma, so
On both sides.
so well, here we are at
At the bloody end.
the end of it. Yeah. Well, let's hope it's not bloody. Let's hope that people retain some sense of civility and some sense of an ability to be nice to each other. That all the idiots that show up with a machete at the polling places have been corralled. I don't know if you saw that story over the weekend, but there was some guy showed up at a polling place with a machete.
He came too early. He should have come on voting day. It was
You
as close
know,
as he could get. His schedule would not permit him to be there on voting day,
well,
so he
there
came
was a
2 days
line. He
early.
was at a polling place. There was a line of people there, early voters, and he's standing there holding a machete over some woman's head.
And how did that end?
He was arrested. Should have shot him.
Should
If you
have
want, if you
saved a lot
want
of
to shoot
time.
somebody, there's the guy you should shoot.
Not in the legs either.
So anyway, I hope there's not that kind of stuff going on.
What
There
state
certainly
was that?
is, indications that in some places there will be. I hope and pray that not. I hope it goes smooth until Slapdick opens his mouth.
Oh, he will.
Well,
Because they're gonna
so,
ask him every 30 minutes on election night how he feel. How do you feel?
so far, his mouth and his friends' mouths have gotten him in trouble. In looking at polling and watching some of the consultants that especially specialize uh, uh, in Latin American and in Hispanic communities,
His last
they
week was not
they've
strong.
taken it seriously.
Yeah.
They're not to insult them is there's an interesting thing happening that I've noticed, and I don't know if it's going to translate or not. Usually there's a hierarchy of countries in Central and South America among Spanish countries, with Spain being kind of at the top of the hierarchy, and then some of the South American countries being, Argentina, Brazil, some of those countries. And I know Brazil they speak Portuguese, but it's in that culture. Um, and then you have some of the island nations that sit lower on that hierarchy. And you really don't hear, like, if you talk to somebody, a Cuban, about Puerto Rican, there's a rivalry there. There's a thing,
Dominican Republic, yeah, rivalry.
right?
Dominican Republic.
They don't all get along. But the one thing that I've noticed about this is all of the Hispanic communities have come to the defense of Puerto Rico, which makes it really interesting because, as we all know, or let's say 98% of us know, except probably the idiot that spewed those jokes, Puerto Rico is American.
Absolutely, 100%.
But it's interesting how these states, these countries that previously, just didn't have a lot to do with Puerto Rico. They looked down at Puerto Ricans for some reason. I don't know why, but that's the way it is. And they've rallied. So now, not only did you offend the Puerto Ricans, but now you hear Cubans. Now you hear Mexicans.
All of
Now
Latin
you
America.
hear Central Americans. You've insulted all of the Hispanic Americans, or most of them.
He didn't miss anyone.
Well, he by and when this is all over, if Trump loses Pennsylvania
I don't know
by
why.
100,000 votes or 200,000 votes or something in that neighborhood, um, he'll have his friend the comedian probably to blame, and our side of it will look at him as a savior.
And the thing is, that'll do it for him. If he loses Pennsylvania, he can't win.
Well, it becomes a lot rougher. I mean, you still theoretically could, but you'd have to win, I guess, all of the other blue wall states plus Nevada and Arizona. And I don't think he's going to take all of those states.
He can't.
And
He might
now
take,
he's got to worry about Iowa
according to the
because the
polls,
new
it's too
poll,
late.
yeah, the poll that came out in Iowa says that Harris is in the lead there.
And the person that's been doing that poll has been doing it for the last 5 or 6 presidential elections. Her,
Oh, they've been doing it's one of the more trusted. I forget the name of the poll, but it's one of the more trusted polls.
it's named after the
Um,
woman who does it. I can't remember right now.
so it's just going to be really, nobody knows. Nobody can say. I mean, even when guys like Frank Luntz, who will predict anything, the famous Frank Luntz, whose famous last words in 2016 is looked into the camera and said, Donald Trump will never be the president of this country. So,
Of course, that was only a prediction.
yeah, God bless him. But, nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow. Nobody. And the one thing that's good, the one thing I hope I bank my thoughts on is that the security is improved for these elections. And that's something else that Donald Trump has we have Donald Trump to thank for, because he forced these election officials to take a look at their systems and see what they
And
were
accused
doing.
them, made accusations
Yeah,
that were baseless, but they stuck.
yeah. So now you have um, you have election officials who are sitting behind plexiglass screens. You have election officials that are double checked now. You have you have all these kind of mechanisms that are harder to corrupt.
And any group of yahoos can put up their own poll watchers.
Right. So now I don't know. If he's gonna try to steal the election, he's gonna have to do it a different place than the poll. I think. I think he's gonna have to. He's gonna have
This
to.
is where he steals the election up here in the minds of his supporters.
Well, that's the thing you have to worry about.
They're already queued up.
Yeah. But even then, could another January, if he loses, could another January 6th happen?
Well,
Probably not.
you see the mistake we made by not prosecuting the first one.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. No, I think
We'll give you
I think
one. We'll give you one. We'll spot you an insurrection if you promise not to do it again.
and he's going to try to do anything he can to at least put up the illusion that he won, because when he loses, his whole world comes
Criti-
crashing down.
Critical mass.
I mean, when is his sentencing? I mean, he's got to be sentenced on those felony counts, like in late November, I think.
All that stuff is coming to roost.
He could be in jail for inauguration day.
I'll be home for Christmas.
Yeah, if he was smart,
Bimini.
I said this years ago, and I still stick by it. If he was smart, after the election, he would gather his stuff, get on a boat, and head for Bimini. They still have prime real estate there, and he could live in the lap of luxury in Bimini. Bimini.
Oceanfront stuff.
Yeah, he
What
could
was the
pull his boat
representative?
right up there, and him and Elon could virtually own the island.
Where's Elon? Elon's going to be coming up for all these government contracts as soon as Kamala becomes president. That might be a little interesting to see.
If that alone should make you like not want to vote for Trump. Just the idea that, unless you're an Elon fanboy,
Driving an Elon truck.
yeah, all of a sudden all of a sudden Elon's involved in this thing, and now you got him and you got Robert Kennedy Jr. And if these are the two stars of his administration, if
Dr.
these are the two
Kennedy,
guys that he's looking
Dr.
at as
Howard,
his
Dr. Kennedy.
administration, you're in trouble.
Especially if you
Why?
should need a doctor.
Yeah, why would you vote for him at this point? Why would you vote for Trump at this point? What do you really believe that he's going to make America better?
Do you think your husband was right when he said you had to do that?
No, I don't know how much of that I buy. Some of it, though, some of it I do. I think there's places where women still, who do I vote for, honey? Or you vote for who I tell you because I'm the king of the house. The Ralph Cramdens of the world.
To the moon.
But what what could you what could you give me that would say to me, boy, that would be a good idea for voting for Donald Trump?
All I can give you is the assurance that you're destroying the fabric of civility, civilization, and the future.
I mean, is your idea of America that we need to be living under an autocrat, that we need to be
Well, I thought let's just give it a try. Let's just give it a couple of years, see how it goes.
Right. See, here's the trouble with the internet. So I go to the internet to find out Trump's sentencing date, and the first thing up is USA Today, who presents me with an article that was written on May 30th, 2024.
And we're nothing if we're not current. That's why we call it USA Almost Today.
Yeah, it's amazing that there's nobody watching their website on the day before election day to make sure that the old stuff is pulled down
Oh, you just
and the
don't know how
site
to
is
use our
current.
search engine.
That's pretty bad. Pretty bad, I got to say. So Oklahoma's going to get more tornadoes after the weekend of storms. And but the good thing is fluoride won't be in our water anymore.
Where will he be?
I don't know where they're going to put him.
Motel 6 on the
Now,
frontage road.
many people say that putting fluoride in water is one of the best things that ever happened to this country as far as health. I don't know if you believe that, you don't believe it, but Kennedy says he's gonna pull it out. See, he's just Trump surrounds himself with a band of fools, and then he lets them go. He doesn't even say to them, "Well, you
Cooperative
know, if you
party.
want to do that, Bobby, keep your mouth shut
Run it by me.
until after the election." I just, I just have I just wonder what people see in Trump. I do hope that people go out and vote tomorrow. The ones that haven't, if you have your ballot in your car, make sure that you take it out of your sun visor, take it from under your seat, stuffed in your seat with everything else. Take it
Put
out
it in the
and use it
Dropbox.
tomorrow. Um, and encourage your friends in other parts of the country to go to the polls and vote. I've been working the phones for Harris, and we'll do so again this afternoon in Pennsylvania. Trying to get people I know in Pennsylvania and other people. They give you a list and trying to make sure that people are out. In Pennsylvania, still go to the polls. So
They don't have early voting. They must.
they changed the law a couple of years ago to have absentee ballots to make it easier to get absentee ballots, but it's still not easy. It's still because they have to hold all of the ballots until election day, and then they distribute them to the different election districts, and the poll workers open the ballots, and they do a hand count of what the ballots are. Now, again, I left in 2020, so I don't know if that system has changed, but if that's still the system, because things in Pennsylvania change slow. It's
I'm
one
curious
thing you
about the
learn
millions of
about it.
people. Go ahead.
I said one thing
I was.
about a commonwealth is things move much slower than they do in a state. Much slower.
Why is that?
So I don't know, Michael. I don't know. I just know that things move. very, very, very slow. The good thing is there's you have a governor who is who's not just going to sit there and watch things happen.
No,
This,
he's
this guy's a
involved.
pro. He's going to be president someday.
Shapiro doesn't have to yell. He thinks that he is this thing plugged in. I'm yelling. He yells for his whole speech. He's got to fix that.
Yeah, he's a very hyperactive guy. Very,
Yep.
he's always moving around. He's always got he's not a stand even when he's up on a stage or something. I've seen him several times. He's always moving around.
He's full of the Commonwealth.
He's got something. But uh so I don't know, Michael. I pray that people are gonna go out and vote. I pray there's gonna be not a lot of fraud, and I pray that and I hope that people look at this and say that Donald Trump is not worth the future of our country.
And if you're in Chicago, vote once, vote twice, whatever you think is right.
Yeah,
However
that
many times whatever you signed up for.
yeah, I don't know how people would vote twice these days. I mean, when Mayor Daley was doing that kind of crap, it was easier to do.
It was
You
considered
just
a
get the dead
badge of
people
courage.
and give somebody $5, go in there and vote.
When you get in there,
But
remember you're dead.
yeah, it's not like that anymore. So I don't know how exactly you would do that these days. But I don't. I just. I don't. I don't think that Trump. I'm really cautious about this, but I don't know that Trump is going to carry the day tomorrow. I just think that enough people,
Doesn't seem right.
yeah, that enough people are tired of the circus, even if they like his policies, even if they agree that the border should be closed and that we should build a wall and all of that other stuff. There's got to be enough people that are just sick of all of the stuff that you have to go through to have him as president.
Well, I'm sick of the endorsements of Vladimir Putin and Elon Musk. I don't care what they think, and I don't care who they support. Get them out of here.
Yeah. Would you, if Musk came to you today and said, I'll give you $1 million if you vote for Donald Trump, would you do it?
I would take the million.
You'd have to vote, but I don't think you'd get it until you vote, right?
Well, he won't know how I voted.
Yeah. I guess I guess you'd have to trust him just like people trust I guess he'd have to trust you like people trust him to get a Tesla that works.
Chances are it might happen. And I'm talking about the Tesla. We got two motors. One doesn't work.
Yeah. That's why they give you two. You have another one just
One
in
of them,
case.
one of them is bound to work.
And then, it's going to be interesting too because Amazon's coming out with a competitor to his Starlink. So once they get that going, he might not even have that anymore.
Plus, he's turned it on and off when he feels kindly or upset with different countries, different areas that he doesn't want to have service.
Well, he's just done it. He's screwed with so many people that have it. He's changed the pricing structure. He's changed the qualifications. He's changed. I mean, everything has just been such a volatile uh, service that you really don't know. One day it's unlimited data, then all of a sudden they send a letter out saying it's not unlimited data anymore,
Can't have that.
and then they send a letter out saying, well, you can put your satellite dish in your RV and take it with you. Then they say, no, you can't do that anymore. Then they say, yes, okay, you can do it on a limited basis, but we're going to charge you to do it. It's really bizarre, that whole Starlink thing with just
He's done
regular
the same thing with the
consumers.
pricing. He's done the same thing with the pricing of his automobiles.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's people that bought Teslas 2 years ago for $80,000 that can now go in a showroom and buy that same car for 60.
But other than that, you'd hardly notice the 20 grand.
So he's made his own cars depreciate. I mean, you can buy a Tesla. If you want a Tesla, you get out of Hertz and they'll give you one. Twenty
But you have
thousand
to.
bucks. They got plenty of them sitting there. There's a cottage industry of YouTube channels that show guys going down to the Hertz lot and getting in a Tesla, and how this former rental Tesla, for 19,500 is available to
Off the
be
lot.
driven off.
Take this thing off my lot. Do me a favor.
That can't make if you drive a Cybertruck, you're getting a finger all the time. Doesn't make a lot of sense. And even those things, they were getting $100,000 for them. Now you find that they're up on used car lots on Aurora. 60,000.
Any color you like, as long as you like gray.
How do you have a car that depreciates almost half in 6 months?
Something to do with its design and the intent. The intent was just to screw the customer.
Well, I like there's a video on YouTube of a guy. You know, part of the thing was it was made out of the strongest metal and the strongest glass, and the glass was bulletproof. So this guy took a gun to the side of his Tesla truck. You know what he found out?
It was none of those things.
Elon lies. That's what he found out. He found out that Elon Musk doesn't always tell the truth,
Even if you buy the sports package,
even if you buy the sports pack. What kind of nitwit do you have to be to take a gun to the side of your brand new car?
somebody who says vote during the tornadoes in Oklahoma.
Yeah, I mean, not for nothing, but that's pretty stupid in my book. All right, what do we got? What do we have in sports here? I don't want to neglect yesterday and the weekend
I think the
in
Seahawks
sports. Did you see the
had a meeting
Seahawks
with
game at all?
I saw part of it with the Rams. Yeah,
Yeah, that was yeah. They're already calling for Mike McDonald to be fired.
if Sugarman might get hired, I really think that he's got the inside track this time.
We're seeing a lot more Jim Mora Jr. than we're seeing Pete Carroll out of this guy. And it's not all his fault. I mean, I don't know how you have. I mean, one sequence yesterday of the Seahawks was snap went over the guy's head, over the quarterback's head. Then they
Snap
get a
goes.
penalty, and then the next snap goes over the quarterback's head. Not the next snap. Couple of plays later, it goes over his head again.
Maybe they could work on that in practice. Would that be a good time to work on that?
Well, this is the second week in a row it's happened, so they must have been working on it in practice. It's just that you can work on things in practice, but they don't always get fixed.
The funny thing is, no matter how bad the snapper is, he will not look at the quarterback before he snaps. He just doesn't do it. It's a blind snap.
I mean, I don't
Is,
get it, man. I don't get
is
how
there
a
any way to work on
professional
that system?
football team
No, snap it to the
can.
quarterback, but don't look. Don't look. Look. No, no, no. Don't- He's right there
I, don't-
between your
I,
legs.
don't-
Do not look at
and I
him.
don't get how you can let that happen two times in a game.
2 times in the
All right,
season.
maybe sometimes one time a game it's going to happen. Maybe you're disjointed. The offensive line is this. Guys aren't in the right position. You had a sausage sandwich for lunch, and you should have had the hamburger. There's all sorts of reasons, but how does that happen two times in the game for
Reason number
professional players?
one: did you look at the quarterback before you snapped it over his head? Nah, we don't look.
Well, yeah, I
We
was
just sort
looking
of
between my
guess.
legs. I didn't see anything.
I didn't see him back there, so I said, "Well,
I
to be on the
didn't
safe
see
side, I'm
it.
just
I
going to
snapped the
snap it into
ball,
no man's land."
and he's supposed to be back there. I don't know how. It makes me laugh how it can happen. How this team can look so bad.
When you're making mistakes like that, it's hard to look professional.
They weren't near looking professional yesterday. They were outmatched by the LA Rams.
And they've had a lot of injuries
And
on that team.
there are there's a lot more fan discontentment than I've ever heard. I don't
He,
I in looking at the internet stuff and just listening. The good thing is the post game shows don't
are
take calls
short.
anymore. No callers. You don't get on the radio and rant against the team. You have
or,
to
su-
hold it, or you
or,
have to
or
put it
support
on
the team
your
for that matter.
say again.
Or support the team if you feel that way.
Yeah, it's just that. So there's no more rants. Only a few stations put callers on the air, and I don't know if that's the team doing that. It's not out of my realm of belief that the team says to these um, stations in exchange for their rights.
Yeah,
Part of
you
the
pay
deal is
us.
you're not going to put negative stuff on the air about us.
We're the Seahawks. For the right to do the game, you pay us. And in return, we tell you what to do.
Well, that's how it's been for a long time. I think the days of the callers getting on the air and saying what's really going on or what they think is going on, the voice of the fan has been
Not,
silenced.
we don't want to hear from you guys. Be the 12th
You know,
man. Give us support before the game. Ding dong, we ring the bell. How do you feel? You feel great? That's fine. That's just fine.
yeah. So I think it's sad because I think it takes away. I don't know. One of the elements I used to listen for is people who were
They,
upset, people who were
they,
or people who were happy.
hey, Pete, they turned on you.
Amazing. Oh, meanwhile, you know who's doing good in Pittsburgh?
Who? Russell Wilson?
Russell Wilson,
They
the
finally fell in love
quarterback
with
that
him.
they didn't need here because they had Geno Smith.
Now they still got him. Oh, they got him.
Well, they got him, and he's not going anywhere. And listen, I don't want to lay this all on Geno, but in my opinion, I don't think this team, the Seahawks team, will ever go anywhere um, to a Super Bowl, anywhere close to a Super Bowl with Geno Smith as their quarterback. I just don't think he has it. Throws interceptions like clockwork at the wrong time. He doesn't work well under pressure most of the time. Yeah, he has his golden moments, but what do you got? In anything, you got to do it consistently. You got to be able to perform in the third quarter like you performed in the first quarter or the second quarter.
And you, and you have to show the other team and your fans and everyone else some strength. What are your strengths? Is it your passing game? Is it your running game? Is it your play calling? Is it your field marshaling? What's your strength?
Well,
Week to
all
week, we
these
don't know
things
what he's
didn't
good
work
at.
for the Seahawks yesterday. I mean, he had a couple of nice throws. I mean, I'm not going to say he was horrible, but he's a middling quarterback.
And he didn't have Metcalf.
Yeah, he's a middling quarterback. And again, I'm not going to put all the blame on him, but they better think about finding somebody because I don't think that he's the answer for them.
Scherzer or
And
Sanders?
so, and I don't know, they had, like I said, they had the answer. I think the guy still had good years in him, and he's proven that now. So, as we were talking about last week, they get rid of Russell Wilson because the coach wants to get rid of him, and then they get rid of the coach.
Yeah, that should settle that. No controversy there.
So now they got nothing. I don't know. I don't. What my question becomes: how the hell did you start the season 3-0?
Just the luck of the draw, really.
Yeah, it
You
just
think
didn't
back.
look. I mean, I couldn't understand how they started 3-0 now.
We're going to start hot, but
So
we're going to get worse. We're going to get a lot worse.
yeah, yeah. By the way, congratulations to Terry Fletcher, um, who is the Seahawks 2024 Fan of the Year. So she gets like a trip to the Super Bowl. My friend Norb was the Fan of the Year last year. It's well deserved. I mean, this is a woman who gets marshals people up and they go and they wave at the bus when it leaves the practice facility and all that kind of stuff and organizes. She's with the Kirkland Seahawkers. So they organize all kind of charity stuff. So congratulations to her. It was a nice thing that they did
And
by
another son of
electing her the fan of
Seattle,
the year.
another son of Seattle is in the news today, Quincy Jones.
Yeah, I was gonna get to that. Quincy Jones, boy, what a career, huh?
He worked with Sinatra, and that was during the time when he would recreate his old situation with a full orchestra in a giant studio, and he sings on a platform with lyrics in front of him, and Nelson Riddle on the right, and Quincy Jones in the booth. Top stuff.
Yeah, I mean, most people say that Sinatra at the Sands is the ultimate live album. Some people might argue with that. Some people might not. But for many music people, well-rounded music people, that they say that 1963 album that was Quincy Jones that put that together.
Plus, there's
Um,
A-list players, guys who
yeah,
had played their whole career came to play.
you go down that list. You go down the list of things that Quincy Jones has done. Not only in music, but in TV. All of the stuff that he did in television. I mean, just a brilliant, creative mind. Um, he saw a young rapper named Will Smith and said, "Boy, I can build a TV series around this kid."
Fresh Prince.
Fresh Prince. I mean, he just had this magic vision, and he could look at a talent and know exactly how to use that talent.
Turn him loose. Turn him loose.
Um, it's always we always make fun of, not always make fun of, but for a lot of people for many years, "We Are the World" was a joke.
Yeah. Nice try, but whatever.
Yeah, for many people, we are the world's joke. But you think about that for a second, and that was Quincy Jones who put that together with Michael Jackson. And I heard a story last night.
With Quincy doing the heavy lifting.
Yeah, I mean, imagine orchestrating all of those talents And the story that I heard that I loved, I heard this. I've heard this story before, but I heard it was reminded of it this morning or last night or whenever I woke up in the middle of the night. Somebody was talking about it when they did "We Are the World." Dylan, who is an introvert,
Yeah.
was didn't want to go out and sing with everybody, so they had him in a room off of where everybody else was. And Dylan's saying, "No, I'm leaving. I can't do this. I'm not a singer. You know, these are the greatest voices in the world are out here." I mean, I guess he hadn't listened to half of them, but anyway, so Quincy, in his ability to look at talent and say, "Okay, what do I need to get this guy in the right place to go out and do this?" Brings Stevie Wonder in. And Stevie Wonder sits down at the piano and he starts imitating Dylan.
Haha. Do it like
And it
this.
cracked Dylan up so much that he said, "All right, I'm going to go out and do it." But Quincy knew the right thing to do to get what he needed out of his talent. Brought Vincent Price in for maybe the most famous laugh in recorded music.
For Killer?
For Thriller.
Thriller, I mean.
Yeah, what what laugh or what recording can you think of where a laugh is that famous? I mean, Vincent Price's laugh was famous as it was. You know that you know, but I mean Quincy Jones introduced it to a whole new generation who probably had no idea who Vincent Price was.
Plus, he had a good idea. He said, go with this. I got an idea. We're going to try this.
Yeah, yeah. No, he Quincy Jones was able to look at something and see it musically or production wise in a whole different way. It was Quincy Jones that put together the only show that really ever gave Saturday Night Live a run for its money. And that was Mad TV.
I remember that. That was a good show.
Yeah. Um, they had tried, excuse me, they tried it on a couple occasions to do something. Probably the most famous was Fridays, which oddly enough was on Friday night. Um, but a number of shows that tried to mirror the success of Saturday Night Live. Um, Again, Mad TV, maybe the only one that ever came close to it. I mean, I think they lasted like 8 years, 10 years.
Great cast. Very talented.
Yeah, really great cast. And that was Quincy Jones saying, "I could do Saturday Night Live," which, I always thought was a little odd. Um, I guess not in some ways, but because he wasn't, I don't think he was part of In Living Color. I may be wrong on that. But that was another great. I mean, if you wanted to compare shows to kind of use that format and went up against Saturday Night Live, although not on
Right.
Saturday night, not live, that was another show that that really went up against that format. By the way,
A
speaking about
combination.
Saturday Night Live, did you see it Saturday night?
I did. I did indeed. Live from New York
Nice,
at Saturday night.
nice job by Kamala Harris, huh?
She looked great.
I'm uh, I'm surprised that Slapdick didn't have something to say about it.
He did. He complained to NBC and he got a shot on the NASCAR races the next day.
Did he?
Took
He
him some time,
hosted a
yeah.
whole episode of Saturday Night Live.
Nobody's bringing out the old tapes. I don't know. I don't know
what
how
a,
he did.
what a baby. What a freaking baby.
Well, NBC knew it had required equal time, so they just said, "Yeah, be on the NASCAR race." Nobody gives a shit.
Is
It's
there
Saturday
equal
morning.
time anymore? I didn't
No,
think there was
there's no
equal time
law.
anymore.
There's no law, but it's still a good way to threaten your license.
Yeah, well, he's going to get rid of everybody's license anyway.
Except for Robert Kennedy, he's going to give him one
He's going to
license
let
to
him. He's
practice
going to let
medicine.
Robert Kennedy roam free, roam wild.
He's going to be what's the word I'm looking for?
You'll
Free
see
range.
Kennedy a year from now. You'll see Kennedy in Central Park with a bear costume on.
Dollar for a picture.
House of the Living Idiots. All right. Um, you voted, right?
We were voted 2 weeks ago.
Good. Um, so we'll
Kristen got a
watch.
confirmation on her phone. I didn't.
Yeah, I got to check mine to see if I got if my one. I mean, I put it in a Dropbox, so
You're
I
good.
wouldn't think that there'd be a problem. But
Except in
you
parts
never
of
know these
Oregon where they
days.
burn them.
No, that's it. That was in Washington. They did that. That was in Vancouver. Why?
I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed for you. That's all. I used to live in your state. I'm ashamed for you.
Why? 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 Why?
Yeah.
Why? I mean, you could you could have burned a box of Trump ballots.
Or Pringles potato chips. A case of Pringles potato chips would have been more demanding.
Yeah, especially in that part of the country, in that part of
See,
Washington, you're not sure what's in the box.
I'm sure there's a reason that Vinnie said that, but we're not going to get any more detail out of him today.
Like I said, in that part of Washington, you're not
You
sure
never
what's in the
know.
box. You have to look before you burn. Uh, oh
Poor
oh my,
Sean.
as our good friend Dave Niehaus would say, my oh my. So Wednesday morning, I don't
Look
know that
out,
we'll have a
Wednesday.
winner, but we'll have an idea.
We'll have a good idea, and maybe a couple of the surprises. There's always a surprise or two.
What would be the big? Well, besides Jill Stein winning, what would be the biggest surprise for you?
That trend out of Iowa affected more than one state.
Yeah, that would. Yeah, Iowa go well. If Iowa goes Democratic, boy, that would be.
And Georgia.
You could maybe expect a bunch of other states you didn't think.
Exactly.
I mean, who knows? I mean, it'll be interesting to see. But I just think that nobody's been talking about it as much as they were a couple of months ago. But I think women. I think when we look at this vote and this whole vote is analyzed um, after the election, this will be the year of the woman.
Yeah, you're right.
This will be
Except
the
for
year
Carrie
that women
Lake.
stepped up to the plate and said, "We're going to fix this."
I want Carrie Lake to announced that she lost 2 elections tomorrow.
I don't think she's. I don't think it's her year. I don't think it's her
Uh,
lifetime. She's a nut job.
she's touched.
Yeah, there's something. She's I don't know what book she's reading, but she seems to think that for some reason that Trump is going to be her savior.
She is definitely on his coattails and cannot or will not get off.
And I don't know. I think one of the big surprises for me will be Allred taking Texas.
What about Fox News? Are they going to call this election, or did they learn from last time that that's how you lose your job? They just report
I
what
think
other
there'll be
people
a
are
few
doing.
people up there who are afraid to walk. No, you go and call it. No, no, no. You always wanted to be on the air. You call it.
But I don't feel good. I'll be right back.
Will Steve Kornacki break a body part tomorrow night?
He points at stuff that's not there, and he makes it look so important. But just watch his hands. He's pointing at stuff that's not really important. He
That's
points at it
okay.
and he
That's his
makes it
job.
look. That's his job.
Kornacki's job is to just point, just point, and
Look at this. Look at that.
will CNN have worked all the bugs out of their magic wall?
Nope. Pray for the guy who has to work the magic wall.
I guess John King is going to be back on the magic wall. They brought him off the road to be at the magic wall.
Tell
Um,
the guy who argues for the Republicans to just stay home. I don't want to. If they don't want me to watch CNN, have that guy on every 5 minutes.
poor
Donald Trump never said that.
Harry Enton was on there the other night, and I guess the wall wasn't working right, so he had to pick up a piece of paper and just draw on it. What he was trying to explain his stats that he had come out with. So he just picked up a legal pad, and he's over there. He's got the legal pad, and he's just writing down all the stuff on it and showing it to the camera. I think
Old
it was great
school.
TV. I give him a lot of credit, man. He was thinking on his feet.
Well, who's the guy who sold on the Great Wall? They built CNN
John
built
King.
CNN built a wall, and it doesn't work.
Yeah, that's bad when you build a wall and it doesn't work. That's never a good thing. That's never a
Well,
good
Vinny,
thing when you.
it was a 100-day race. I like these short races, but God, it was intense.
Yeah, you know what? I'll take the intensity. I can't imagine what it must have been like. Well, actually, I can because I talked to a couple of people from there. That you're almost at wall to wall commercials,
Yeah,
political commercials on in Pennsylvania. You're just getting assaulted with every kind, because you don't have just the presidential commercials, but you have all the local races,
oh yeah.
which are insane. Some of them,
Jim
some of
Zimmerman
these
said a
local
chicken in every
candidates
pot,
are.
but he lied.
Oh yeah, see, you don't because they don't have the fact checkers are too busy checking Donald Trump.
Or not.
So he's got a whole cottage industry going of fact checkers. I mean, where do you even go to school for fact checking?
Columbia School of Journalism.
The Wharton School of Business? No, you don't want facts to get away in business. To get
Yep,
it away.
their reputation is in trouble right now. It's in abeyance. It's up in the air.
Don't tell anybody you want here. Keep it a secret.
So on Wednesday when we return, we may know who's the president.
Or we may be at war.
With ourselves.
Yeah. Well, however it turns out, we'll be here Wednesday morning,
10:10.
10:10, to try to figure it out, or help you figure it out, or commiserate with you, or be happy and joyous. I
If you're
could
sick of
use
this,
4 years of a happy and joyous presidency.
that would be nice. That would be nice.
Yeah, I could
I'm
use
counting on it.
4 more years and knowing that my Medicare isn't going to go
Because I
away.
think I'm too old to sell everything and move to the south of France or the north of Italy
Well,
or
the
downtown
good thing is
Amsterdam.
in those places, you really don't need much more than a knapsack full of clothes.
I can do that.
Give me that and an old Junker Citron, and I'd be happy as a
But
clam.
it always starts. It just doesn't always go.
Yeah, that starts okay. It just doesn't move well. But
By
that's
the way, I still
okay.
have For some reason, I still have Freon. I'm not running it. I'm just testing it every day. I still have Freon.
You still have Freon. Yeah, what happened with your air conditioner?
I still got Freon. It works, but
So
it's
now
only
it's working.
60. It's only 70 degrees outside, so I don't need air conditioning. But now that I don't need it, I've got some. Now, will it last 2 weeks? I'll let you know.
Yeah, keep me posted. I'm interested in seeing if where it's going. But you got Freon in there, so
You turn it on, it gets cold right away. It's a great system. The Lexus
when it's
AC is a
60
real
degrees,
powerful.
70 degrees.
Yeah, when it was 90, it didn't work.
It's got to be a great system when it's 90 out.
I've tried it both ways. You got to dress for the 90. Windows down, wet sweatshirt, wet t-shirt.
Just keep the car moving and the breeze will keep coming in.
Because the
All
breeze
right,
is
Mikey, I will
92.
see you Wednesday morning. If you haven't voted yet, please fill out your ballot, get it to the drop box, go
Don't
to
be a
the
putz, vote.
they have if you want to drop it off on your own or you want to go vote, you can go to the provisional voting centers in Snohomish or King County or Pierce County and vote right there in person and hand them your ballot. You know it'll get in by 8 o'clock on Tuesday night.
And to the 10 million voters in LA County, don't make me come looking for you. Do what you got to do
Yeah.
and hurry up about it.
And even more importantly, if you live here and you're listening to us and you live out in California with us or Washington with us, make sure you call your friends back east and give them one more reassurance that it's okay to
To
vote
be a
for
human.
Kamala. Because America needs a Kamala. Vote
Keep
Kamala.
Kamala. Keep Kamala. Vote for Kamala.
Vote for Kamala. All right, man. See you on Wednesday if the Lord's will and the creek don't rise.
It's been a hell of a race, Vinny. It's been a hell of a race.
Been a hell of a few months, man. We'll know well. Hopefully, we'll know the results by the time we hook up. Boy, it's going to be depressing if it's Trump, isn't it?
That'll be some wacky Wednesday. Ain't gonna be. It ain't gonna be.
Don't do this to us, God, please. All right. Peace, love, and Manischewitz, baby.
What a wine. What a race.
All right, Mikey. See you Wednesday.
See.
Thank you all for listening. We'll see you Wednesday too. And please get your friends back east to get to the polls and vote. Have a good one.